Happy New Year, 2024. And that means New Year's resolutions. For a while, I've wondered if there was a science to keeping New Year's resolutions. And this stems from going to the gym on January 3rd, seeing all those people in the gym with their New Year's resolutions to get healthy and get stronger. And then in February, they're all gone. So I thought there must be some science to setting and keeping New Year's resolutions. It seems like New Year's resolutions are just goals that you set on January 1st. There's a lot of good data on goals. Why wouldn't there be for New Year's resolutions as well? So for this video, I'm going to break down New Year's resolutions, setting them, keeping them, and why it matters for your mental health and other reasons too, but mostly mental health. That's what we're talking about. Before we get into the science, we have to first define some terms. First being, what is a goal? Psychologists have been asking this question for decades, and all that asking and research has culminated in what we now know as goal theory or goal setting theory. Goal theory defines a goal right here as an object or an outcome that you desire. And it defines goal setting as this discrepancy creating process between where you're at now and that desire, that goal. It requires that you're unhappy with your state of being now. So there has to be some kind of discontent here. And there has to be some kind of metric, some way of tracking that you're on the right path or that you're going in the right direction towards the goal. So that's all goal is. That's all goal setting is. Easy. But what does it have to do with mental health? Oh, back in Psych 101 in college, we learned that goal setting and achieving goals is highly linked to self-esteem. And self-esteem is important for a lot of reasons, especially in your mental health. Self-esteem can actually be pretty complicated, so I've written a blog about it. I'll link it in the description below. But for now, we'll just keep it simple. Self-esteem is like a score you give yourself. You take all the aspects about yourself, your traits, your behaviors, everything, and you give each one an individual score. Then you add up all the scores, and that total score, is your self-esteem. And it makes sense why setting and achieving goals would boost that score, right? Because you're taking things that you're unhappy with that you'd give a low score and you're boosting them, right? You're giving them a higher score because now you're happy with them once you've achieved the goal. So it makes sense that achieving goals, setting goals would have a positive impact on something like self-esteem. And self-esteem is a big deal. All right, positive self-esteem has been linked to better social behavior, higher levels of success in things like job performance and academics and relationships, and also better mental health, which is what we're talking about. Negative self-esteem, on the other hand, has been linked to depression, anorexia nervosa, also called anorexia, bulimia, anxiety, violence, and substance abuse. So as New Year's was coming up, I thought to myself, why don't we make a video about setting and keeping New Year's resolutions, and then we'll all go into 2024 with this big old boost of self-esteem and we'll crush it. But unfortunately, it's not that kind of video. See, I spent hours looking for studies on New Year's resolutions, and I found a few, but they were not promising. So the first study I found was from 2020. It studied 1,000 people for a full year. Study 1, as we'll call it, looked at approach-oriented New Year's resolutions versus avoidance-oriented New Year's resolutions. To kind of give the context here, an approach-oriented goal is something that you move towards. So it's like, I want to get my max bench up to 225. Moving towards that weight, towards that goal. Whereas an avoidance-oriented goal is something you are moving away from. So like, I want to quit smoking. Done. You're moving away from that thing. That's all. So the study is testing whether if you have a New Year's resolution that's phrased in a certain way, if that'll impact success. They also tested the level of support, and if that impacted New Year's resolution success. No support, some support, and extended support. So all the participants were fed into one of these three groups. No support just got 3 emails from the researchers over the course of the year. So just 3 check-ins, that's it. Some support got a check-in every month, some information about goal setting and hiccups they might find along the way, and they also named a supporter, someone that's saying, this person is responsible for helping me achieve my goal, or my New Year's resolution in this case. And extended support got all the same things as some support, but they had more information, and they had to make their New Year's resolution approach-oriented, going towards something. That's study 1. I'll give you the results at the end. Like after I explain the other study, you'll see why. So here's study 2. Study 2 did something similar when it came to like phrasing New Year's resolutions and seeing if that had any impact on success. Except in this case, they looked at phrasing their New Year's resolutions in a subordinate way or a superordinate way. So in this case, superordinate is like big picture stuff. It's like, I want to be a healthier person overall. It's your big picture. It's the ultimate goal, the final. Whereas subordinate is more everyday. It's like, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week this week. Every day, granular, easy. And so in this case, it followed 250 people for 3 months. And over those 3 months, they divided their participants into one of 4 groups. Group 1 made their New Year's resolution both super and subordinate. So they'd say, I want to be a healthier person by going to the gym 3 times a week, every week. Fine. Group 2 was only subordinate. Group 3, only subordinate. And Group 4, neither. Just control, neither. Now, when it comes to these 2 studies and drawing conclusions and advice based on them, in any study really, we're looking for what I call good data. Now, good data means we have to keep track of 2 things: significance and effect size. So if data is statistically significant, right, it tells you that it probably wasn't random. It means the thing that you're testing is doing something. The problem is that significance can be manipulated by something like a large sample size. That's where effect size comes in. So let's say you're testing a weight loss pill and you have 10,000 participants on the pill and 10,000 participants on a sugar pill as your control. If your test group on average loses half a pound, that would be significant because you have so many people. But would you buy a weight loss pill that only could help you lose half a pound? Probably not. That's not meaningful for a human being. That's where effect size comes in. So in order for data to be good, in order for us to take conclusions and advice based on data, we need both. In my opinion, we need both statistical significance and a large effect size. And that's kind of where we run into trouble here. If we go back to study 1, the difference between approach-oriented New Year's resolutions and avoidance-oriented New Year's resolutions was significant, but it had a really small effect size, not good data. And the same thing with the different levels of support. A few of these had significant differences between them, not all of them, but not a single one had a large effect size. All of them were small effect sizes, not good data. So the only thing we can draw a conclusion from here is that phrasing your New Year's resolution approach or avoidance oriented will probably not have a meaningful effect on the success of that New Year's resolution. And the same thing with the levels of support. It probably won't have a meaningful effect on the success of your New Year's resolution. Those are the only things we can conclude because there wasn't good data. Same thing with study 2. In study 2, there was no significance between any of the groups here. So the only thing we can conclude is that whether you phrase your New Year's resolution in a superordinate way, a subordinate way, or a combination thereof, there probably won't be a meaningful effect on the success of your New Year's resolution, depending on how you phrase it. This is the only thing we conclude: no good data. And this is kind of where things get interesting to me. At the beginning of the video, I assumed that a New Year's resolution was just a goal you set on January 1st. But of all the ways these studies found to talk about and verbally manipulate and test New Year's resolutions, there seemed to be no difference, no meaningful difference anyway, according to the data. What's interesting to me is that there is good data, really good data, on verbally manipulating and testing and talking about goals. And so for me, that makes me think maybe the 2 are different. I thought this story would be about how to make and keep New Year's resolutions for the sake of your self-esteem at the beginning of the year and in the years to come. But maybe the story is more about, if you want to do something, don't wait for the new year. And if you're at the new year now and you don't have a New Year's resolution, don't sweat it, because according to the data presented here, making a goal on January 1st, calling it a New Year's resolution and trying to follow through doesn't actually seem to work. It kind of seems like New Year's resolutions are just BS in general. It's also important to remember that the reality of that self-esteem that we were talking about earlier works both ways. If you achieve goals, your self-esteem goes up. But if you continuously fail and fail and fail, that's going to hurt your self-esteem. And that seems like a really bad way to start the year. So to round this out, I looked at a poll that Marist University does every year on the most popular New Year's resolutions. And this is from 2019. This is the most recent one I could find. If you look at these, are the top 9 top 19 rather, New Year's resolutions here, a lot of them don't even fit the criteria for goals. Remember, a goal has to have a metric. So here, there are a few. The ones in black do have a metric. Stop smoking. You can just see, am I smoking? Yes, no, good. Lose weight. Am I heavier than I was last year? Yes, no, great. There are metrics there. But a lot of these don't have something like be a better person. How do you track that? Or enjoy life or grow as a person. How are you tracking that? There's no metric there. How do you know you're going in the right direction? The ones in orange do have a metric, but kind of seem like they would be really, really difficult to track, or the metric itself is weak. Something like eat healthier. I think that's a weak metric. Are you talking about eating fewer calories, eating more calories, eating cleaner food, organic, certain diet, whatever? Get politically involved. Does that mean voting for the first time? Does it mean watching the news every day? Does it mean writing to your local congressman? I don't know. It's a weak metric. Things like that don't exactly scream strong goals to me. And I think this just goes to show that there's a lot of difference between a New Year's resolution and a goal just based on how we create New Year's resolutions ourselves. Right? Out of these 19, only 4 of them I think are really solid New Year's resolutions and really fit the criteria of a good goal. And I think of all the times I've really, really wanted something, right? All the times I've set a goal and gone to achieve it, it's always been because there was some internal pressure. A point of me broke, and I couldn't stay in my current state anymore. It seems like New Year's resolutions occur just because somebody needs an answer. You're to the question, what's your New Year's resolution? That's the only reason they exist, it seems like. So maybe this video isn't about better resolutions, it's about not making them in the first place, right? If you want to be a better person, for example, just put your shopping cart back in the corral. You don't need a New Year's resolution to do that. And again, according to the data here, making a goal on January 1st and calling it a resolution doesn't actually increase your chances of accomplishing anything. So after seeing this data, I'm personally done setting resolutions. I think they add more stress than they're worth, and I don't think the upside is really there. I did find a really good article at centerstone.org, and they say that the new year does not have to be a brand new you. Take the time to do something fun and adventurous. Prioritize your health over punishing yourself. Prioritize your health over punishing yourself. There we go. Now, after all this, if you are still set on having a New Year's resolution, I can help. This year at wisedown.com, we're releasing our 12 months of mental health advent calendar. Every month, as part of our newsletter, we'll send out one easy, free trick to just improve your mental health just a little bit. And we'll explain the science behind it so you actually know what's going on and why you're doing the thing. At the end of the year, you'll have 12 simple, easy tasks that you can just use to quickly give yourself a little boost if you ever need it. You can sign up at the link in the description and get started so you don't miss the first one that comes in January. But no matter how you decide to tackle 2024, we do wish you the best. And if you find yourself trying out the gym on January 3rd, I hope you make it to February this year.